Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to everyone. Welcome to Basic Exploration and Production Training Session. My name is Hattar Mizi Hassan and I will be the host of the training session today. Let me introduce myself. I studied mechanical engineering from University of Hartford, Connecticut, United States of America, and I pursue my study in Master of Business Administration Management from University of Hartford, Connecticut, USA. I've been working with oil and gas company for around 30 years. I've been involved in development of oil and gas fields in Malaysia and other parts of the world such as Central Asia, Middle East, Southeast Asia and Africa. Besides working in Malaysia, I've been also working and stationed in Dubai, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, England, France and Holland. I'm delighted to be with you, all of you, and share my experience to all of you who are interested and keen to know about oil and gas engineering and having intention to make it as your profession. Oil and gas are major industries in the energy market and play an influential role in the global economy as the world's primary fuel sources. You guys in this industry will play major role in oil and gas industry. Through this training module, you will further understand oil and gas exploration and production. Ladies and gentlemen, my presentation today will go through all these areas as listed here. Firstly, I will give an overview of oil and gas industry, and today's session will be mainly on overview of petroleum industry. Then we will go through field life cycle. The next session will be the organic theory of how oil and gas were formed. The next subject will be exploration. Then we will go through over petroleum reservoir and exploration methods. Then we will talk about geological survey. Then we will study about seismic data. Continue with reservoir porosity and permeability. After all those part of exploration, after exploration stage will be going through the appraisal stage, and the last part of this module will be well logging. So this basically all the list of agenda for the presentation in the module 1 of upstream exploration and production. I will continue with the rest of the topics in this module within the series of presentation that I will be sharing with all of you. What is oil and gas? Let me introduce what is oil and gas industry. The word petroleum is derived from the Latin petra, which means rock, and oleum, which means oil. It is commonly used to refer to crude oil. Petroleum or some hydrocarbons are gases rather than liquid. Methane is the most common example of these hydrocarbon gases. The oil and gas sector, also known as petroleum industry, which includes exploration, extraction, production, refining, transporting and marketing of petroleum products. Petroleum industry is often considered in two broad areas, upstream and downstream. Upstream are all the steps involved from preliminary exploration through extraction of crude oil and gas from underground reservoirs to its supply for refining into saleable products. Whereas downstream, the refining petroleum crude oil and the processing and purifying the raw natural gas, as well as the marketing and distribution of products derived from crude oil and gas. My presentation will be focusing on upstream since I've been working in upstream sector of the oil and gas industry. Why is crude oil important? Crude oil is a central part of modern life and the world's most important energy resources. The way people live, work, and travel all depend on oil. Oil is in fact the world's most important transportation fuel. 90% of transportation fuel comes from crude. It is also the raw material from which other important products are made, which have improved the quality of our life over the past centuries and a half. It has been used to keep people's houses warm during winter for centuries. Without oil, we would not be able to continue enjoy the standard of living that we are having now. Okay, when was the first oil well discovered in the history of mankind? The modern oil industry began in the mid-19th century. On August 27, 1859, Colonel Edwin Drake discovered the first underground oil reservoir near Titusville, Pennsylvania, USA, after drilling a well only 21 meters deep. Drake worked for the Pennsylvania Rock Oil Company, which wanted to use the oil to light street lamps. In 1890, the mass production of automobiles began creating a huge demand for gasoline and pushing companies to find more oil fields. Here's a picture of Drake Well, Titusville, Pennsylvania, USA. In terms of first oil discovery in Malaysia, I just want to share with you. Oil was first discovered in Miri in 1902 and production started in 1910. The Grand Old Lady, the name of the well, is the given name to this oil well. It has become a monument now. This first oil well was drilled by Royal Dutch Shell in Miri. Miri was a small port village surrounded by forests and open to South China Sea, and Miri became the administrative center of northern region of Sarawak in 1929. Initial production of this well was 83 barrels per day and peaked at 29,000 barrels per day in 1929, after which the field was closed down. An important organization managing the oil in the world is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Industry, which is known as OPEC. Currently, OPEC made up of 12 oil exporting countries and that work together to coordinate their petroleum policies. As I mentioned, OPEC's mission is to coordinate oil policies in its members' countries and help stabilize oil markets. It's also to make sure there is always a regular supply of oil available to consumers. And they want to make sure steady income is generated for producers. Out of 12 members countries, there are 5 founder members. The first move towards the establishment of OPEC can be traced back in 1949, when Venezuela approached 4 other oil-producing developing countries, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia, to suggest that they explore avenues for regular and closer cooperation on oil matters. If demand suddenly grows and supplies fall short, OPEC can increase its oil production in order to keep the market well supplied. On the other hand, if demand supply falls and supplies grow, OPEC can slow down production in order to help maintain a balance in the market. Current proved world oil reserves stand at 1,650 billion barrels, where 65% of reserves are from OPEC member countries in Middle East and Africa. The world has reserved 46 times its annual consumption level, which means approximately around 47 to 50 years oil left. Venezuela holds the largest oil reserve globally with over 300 billion barrels. And Saudi Arabia holds the second largest oil reserve globally. These are the OPEC share of world oil crude reserve. OPEC itself has proven around 1,241 billion barrels of oil reserve, 80% of world reserve. These are the countries in OPEC that have proven crude oil reserve. As you can see, Venezuela, 300 million barrel, followed by Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Libya, Nigeria, Algeria, Angola, Gabon, Congo, and Equatorial Guinea. OPEC oil production by countries, as you can see. In terms of production, though Venezuela has the highest reserve, Saudi Arabia has the highest daily production among the OPEC countries. Saudi Arabia produces around 10 million barrels per day, and it is not the highest country that produces oil daily. Do you know which country has the highest daily production? The answer is United States of America, which produce more than 11 million barrels per day. OPEC daily crude production is reaching 29.7 million barrels per day. In terms of world gas reserve, current proved world gas reserves stand at 6,923 trillion cubic feet. About 80% of the proved gas reserve are in Russia and Middle East countries. Russia has by far the largest proven reserve, around 1,688 TCF. Iran has the second largest proven reserve. The supergiant largest gas field in the world, South Spar, is located in Persian Gulf waters between Iran and Qatar offshore. 40% in Iran and 60% in Qatar. And the reserve of this field is around 12 TCF. As I mentioned earlier, Russia has the largest gas reserve in the world. Russia is considered energy superpower. However, gas industry may face supply crunch due to the following reason. Firstly, gas fields are at very remote area, therefore having difficult access to the resources. Resource nationalism. Each nation wants to govern the gas resource by themselves, free from outside interference. Thirdly, most of the remaining gas fields are high CO2 gas fields, which are very difficult to develop or very expensive to develop. And number four, many gas fields are located at geopolitical unstable locations. Lastly, rising costs to develop gas fields and shortage of manpower in the gas industry are also the crunch that possible, giving the supply crunch, which may cancel or even lead to cancellation of the gas projects. World gas production. Global natural gas consumption is expected to grow at annual average rate of 0.8% from 2022 to 2025. The Asia Pacific region has the highest global gas consumption. China, India, and emerging Asia, which are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, remain the primary growth markets throughout the forecast period. Emerging Asia's growth is mainly driven by growing electricity requirements and continuing addition to gas-fired generation capacity. This here I want to share the oil properties. Oil density is called API gravity, determines boiling range for separating and extracting different fractions. Crude oil can be classified either light or heavy crude depending on its API gravity. API gravity is measure of how heavy or light the petroleum liquid is compared to water. If API greater than 10, it is lighter and floats on water. But if API gravity is less than 10, it is heavier and sinks in the water. In terms of sulfur content of crude oil determines the required treatment to reduce effect on the environment and corrosive effect on equipment. Oil with a high sulfur content, 0.5% and above, is considered sour. Sweet crude oil has low amount of sulfur compounds. Crude oil viscosity is defined as the internal resistance of the fluid to flow. And as you can see in the diagram here is the crude oil element composition. The majority of the main composition is carbon, followed by hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen, sand, water, salt, and also metals. Okay, I want to share with you the world record, and in terms of question that if you can answer, you can answer the following question. What are the largest oil fields in the world? The world's largest oil field in Saudi Arabia called Gawa field. It's produced around 4 million barrels of oil per day. It is 1/3 of Saudi Arabia total production. Gawa in the eastern province was discovered in 1948, started production in 1951, and is owned and operated by Saudi Aramco. What is the largest gas field in the world? The largest gas field is in Qatar, called North Dome Gas Field. The gas field covers an area of 9,700 square kilometers. 3,700 square kilometers is in Iranian territorial waters and 6,000 square kilometers in Qatari territorial waters. What is the longest well drilled in the world? The longest well was drilled in May 2008. It is in Al Ashin offshore of oil field off the coast of Qatar, 12,289 meters. In Qatar, drilled by Mars Oil Qatar and Qatar Petroleum in 36 days. What is the deepest water depth ever being drilled from? 9,727 feet in the Gulf of Mexico. Unocal Corporation Trident Prospect in Alaminos Canyon, Block 903 in the Gulf of Mexico, set a new ultra-deep water record. The well was drilled to a total depth of 20,500 feet in 66 days. So that is basically the session today. Our next session will be on the field life cycle, and I hope to see you again in the next session. Thank you very much.